pass a company off as real? And who is behind it all?
We believed in him, we believed in the company because it was so real.
Job fished at bbcworldservice.com/documentaries.
On NewsHour, in the next 30 minutes, we'll hear mixed reaction in Moscow about the initiation of war, full-throated support from one MP, worried disbelief from a foreign policy analyst. We'll be hearing from a young Ukrainian who's returned from London to Kiev to join the resistance, how the war may unfold, and what events mean for the global economy. After this summary of the news.
BBC News, I'm Moira Alderson. The Russian and Ukrainian armies are fighting fierce battles in several places close to Ukraine's capital, Kiev, as Moscow's multi-pronged invasion progresses. Ukrainian forces have launched a counterattack against Russian airborne troops who took control of Hostomel airfield outside of Kiev. There have been many casualties across the country. Reports suggest Russian armoured columns have made rapid progress south from Belarus and north from the Crimean Peninsula. There has also been heavy fighting in the east. Ukrainian citizens have been leaving their homes, seeking safety in other parts of the country and in neighbouring nations. The United Nations has estimated that more than 100,000 people were on the move. President Biden has announced further sanctions on Russia, which he said would impose severe and long-term costs.
It will end up costing Russia dearly, economically and strategically. We will make sure of that. Putin will be a pariah on the international stage. Any nation that countenances Russia's naked aggression against Ukraine will be stained by association.
In a televised address, Mr. Biden said Vladimir Putin had launched an assault on the very principles that upheld global peace in an attempt to re-establish the Soviet Union. He said there would be strict new limits on exports to Russia, and G7 countries had agreed to stop Russian businesses from conducting trade in major foreign currencies. EU leaders are holding an emergency summit in Brussels, where they're reported to have agreed a raft of tougher new sanctions against Russia. Britain said Russian banks would be excluded from London's financial system. There's been a surge in anti-war rallies in dozens of cities across Russia. Videos posted online show thousands of people marching and chanting no to war. That's the latest. BBC News.
Welcome back to NewsHour. With war comes economic convulsion, and today European gas prices surged by a third. Europe, after all, relies on Russia for nearly 40% of its gas and oil imports. At the same time, stock markets fell. The ruble collapsed at one point to an all-time low against the dollar. Ed Moyer is the senior market analyst with Oanda. It's a global currency exchange trading corporation. Ed, I want to get onto the global ramifications in a moment, but just first, in terms of the Russian economy, much has been made of how it's sort of transformed itself in recent years to a fortress economy. What's your prediction of how damaged it may be from the new raft of sanctions that we've heard announced?
I think President Putin was well aware that this was the path that was going to be taken by the G7. And right now you're probably going to see that there is going to be further market pain. The Russian stock market lost over $200 billion. And you're going to see that